Yo, YouTube. This is a video for Tuesday, the 9th of April, which is today. So I'm going to get this done straight away and not have to drive in the dark. Now, I did forget one thing from last week that I was going to mention in my last video, and that was the work that I did in my van, which was a full service and a replacement cam belt. And the Ford recommendation is to change the cam belt every 125,000 miles. So this is the second time I've had this cam belt changed. And I got a chance this time to look at the actual item, the actual material off the van, and I must say it looked absolutely brand spanking new, the one that was taken off my van. So I was really impressed with the longevity of the Ford part that was put on about a year ago, maybe a bit more than that, a year and a half ago. Actually, yeah, it's probably a year and a half ago. The only thing that I was going to mention is that the flywheel that the cam belt goes on was also replaced because my old one was chipped a bit. So there was that. There was a full service. There was in total 9 hours of labour I was charged for that job. And the mechanic who deals with my van was again very complimentary about the state of my van. He said that because I look after it in terms of servicing, it should last me for a long time yet, which I feel very good about. I don't want to get rid of this van prematurely. So it's currently on 273,000 miles, and I think at least another year, and possibly maybe push it to a year and a half, 2 years before I need to change my van. Actually, yeah, think about it, I'd rather get a year and a half out of it. It gives me a chance to get my finances in a better order before I get a new van. Anyway, so it was interesting to see the actual cam belt, the rubber that came off my van, and it was absolutely immaculate, which was really interesting. So, bringing me to today then, today being Tuesday, I didn't have a job in the morning. Yesterday I was really tired. I basically got home, had a nap, and basically ended up going to bed pretty soon after I got home, and then woke up this morning at around about 8ish, without a job, and started bidding on a few bits and pieces, and then eventually I got a job. And my job from this morning was going from Lincoln to Utoxeter, ST postcode, but there was 3 drop-offs. So it was going to the place, the manufacturing unit around Utoxeter, but because it was all boxes, it was just drop box deliveries rather than going actually on site. And so I bid £100 for 87 miles loaded, small van. It was 31 miles to get to the pickup point, and about 50 minutes travelling. So I arrived at 11:05, picked up the 3 boxes really quickly and easily, and then made my way towards the ST14 postcode. And in the end, it was a really easy set of deliveries. I hadn't been to 2 of the sites before. I had been to the last one. The last one was sort of near Cheadle, I think. So the first stop, I went to follow the instructions, went to the security gate, but I was carrying the box with me, and he immediately said to me, just go back out, go to security. Sorry, I went to the goods in gate, which was opposite the security gate, with the box, and he said to go back out, to go to security, tell them that you want the drop box, and then I was sure to go. So I did that. Ended up going into the site, following the instructions. There's a 4-key that was waiting for me. I took a picture, got them to sign my paperwork, and I was out of there. The next site was about 3 minutes away. That one was even easier. I went to the guardhouse, and actually that served as being, I think, the drop box was behind the guardhouse, and the guy said he'd come out and he'd get the box from a van. So I parked about 25 metres away down a hill, and he came down to my van and picked it off me and took it up to the drop box for me. So I didn't even have to drive into the security gates. And the third one was one I've been to before. I knew where to go. It was really busy. It was loads and loads of lorries in the car park and a few vans, and obviously they were waiting for a very long time. And I just went to the right, went to the window, told them what I said to drop box, asked me to wait. The only issue about waiting was it was a bit rainy, and I had to stand in the rain. But other than that, it was really easy again. And then I had somewhere really. I finished the job at around about just before 2 o'clock. So I picked it up about 11 and dropped off about 2. So about 3 hours in total for that job. But it took me about an hour or so to get there. So I left the house at 10 and I arrived and was off the collection point by 11. So in the end, a 4-hour day, £100, which is not great money, but it was easy. It was small van work, and so I took advantage of parking where I was for a bit. And there was not a lot of work around the Tues area, the ST14 area, and I was a bit in a quandary as to what to do. And there were jobs coming up, sort of Manchester, Wolverhampton, Chesterfield, Derby, all kind of an hour away from me, and I wasn't really going to win any of these where I was, because I was in the middle of nowhere. I was making a decision about what to do, and this was now just gone 2 o'clock. So I sort of looked at the number of jobs that were coming out, and more jobs were coming out in the northwest and Birmingham. So I chose to drive towards the M6 junction just below Stoke-on-Trent, looking for jobs, hoping I'd get something to head back towards East Anglia. And there wasn't really, and I was bidding, as I said before in my previous video, sort of normal prices. I wasn't getting anything. There wasn't an awful lot to bid on, and I was really stuck about what to do. So I pulled up at an Aldi, carried on bidding, and it got to about, I'm going to say 3:30, probably 3:15 ish, and I decided that I would head actually to the M6. There was a bid on going to get a bid collected from Manchester, a couple of bids from St Alfred, and in the end I thought I'd have to make a movement somewhere because I'm not getting anything here. So I drove to the M6, and I decided at the last moment I'm going to head south rather than north, for one reason only. The chance of me getting a job from Manchester to East Anglia is less likely than getting from Birmingham or West Midlands to East Anglia. And I thought I could, if I had to, stay at my mum's just south of Birmingham. And I didn't really want to stay out tonight. And then I got a phone call, and that was a phone call that was a job for tomorrow. It's a pickup in Lincoln going to Spalding. So I have to really get home tonight. So that's why, as I got to the M6, I then went south, hoping that something would come up taking me somewhere in the right direction. And I got a bid on a job which is pretty much my perfect job, except for the dead miles I had to do to get there. It's a job I've done before, and I do have contact with. I have the shipper's phone number. It's a reasonably regular job, but I'm not always in the right area. And it was from Kings Winford, which is DY6 postcode, going to Spalding. And I was about an hour away. I was just north of Stafford at this point, and I sent a bid in, £110 for 112 miles loaded. But I was an hour away from the pickup, and it was a tight deadline, I think, or at least it was on paper. I also sent a text to the shipper directly, and I hoped that would be enough for me to get offered the job. It's for a small van job, and I got a call back from the shipper and we had a chat about it, and I explained how far away I was. I got the actual postcode, and I said my ETA was going to be 4:10, and I think he said he'd been given a cheaper price, and that I said something else about another driver involved. So I said that I would do it for £100 rather than £110. He asked me if I'd go lower. So I did that as a sort of show of goodwill, because to be honest, it was a really good job for me to get a lot of the way home with one job. Bearing in mind I had a job in the morning as well, so I had to really get home. And so he said he would call the customer and double check how they felt about the time, because it was going to be a good hour for a pickup. And then I got 5 minutes later, I was on my way south anyway, and 5 minutes later I got a call back and I got given the job. So I've just been to Kings Winford. Traffic was busy. It took me 5 minutes extra. I arrived at 4:15. I've no idea about the dead miles. Basically my dead miles were from ST14 Cheadle, I think it's Cheadle, to Kings Winford. It's probably a good 40-50 miles dead from one stop to the other, from one drop off to the pickup. But I'm really pleased because I managed to get a nice little job getting me home tonight. And I can give you my stats based on me getting home at the time I think I'll get home and the mileage. The stats for today are as follows. So my average fuel price is still 16.10 pence per mile. I would have driven 297 miles today, 297. Another small day, 9.5 hours. I would have earned £200 in total gross. That would be £100 for my job going from Lincoln to, let's say, Toxeter. And £100 from Kings Winford to Spalding. I spent £47.82 on fuel today, which means that my net earnings after fuel are going to be £152, 152. So neither day today or yesterday were very good in terms of my target, but considering I've had 2 short days, I'm okay with that. And it will get me home. Today could have been a lot worse. I was expecting to have to just deadline it all the way home with no work, but as it is, I've got a pretty decent job and made contact with that shipper again. So hopefully he'll remember me for the next time. Yeah, that's it really. That's all I can say about today. Short video for me. So thank you for listening. I hope that if you are one of those polite, professional, fair people in this industry, that you are successful, however you choose to define that term for yourselves. Thank you for listening, and I shall update you on what happens tomorrow. Farewell, friends.